Hey everyone, and welcome back to the second meeting of the Tropical Rum Society. I'm your host Matt, and today we're going to be taking a look at the Baron Samedi Spiced Rum. So we'll get to the tasting in just a minute, but before that I wanted to give a quick rundown of who the Baron is, so that you have an understanding of why he's on the label and what he's all about. So if you want to jump ahead to get to the tasting, there's some timestamps in the description down below, but otherwise, let's check out who Baron Samedi actually is. So the Baron Samedi is a Loa of the dead from Haitian voodoo folklore. He's often depicted much like he is on the label here, with his top hat and his general kind of creepy vibe. He's often got a kind of skull representation, or just things that are a little bit off and dark. Because he's associated with death and resurrection and debauchery and things on that kind of darker side of the spectrum. He also has a love of cigars and rum, which is probably why he was chosen to represent this brand. As you can see, he's the feature on the label, and obviously it's named after him. Makes sense to take what is essentially one of the central figures of a Caribbean folklore and use that for a Caribbean-style rum. So as a drink, Baron Samedi is a 40% or 80 proof alcohol made of Caribbean column-stilled rums as well as Jamaican pot-stilled rum. The reason they do that is the Caribbean column-stilled rums get stripped of a lot of their flavor. The production process of using a column still really kind of takes the flavors out of the column-stilled rum. So we blend together some Jamaican pot-stilled rum into that, which has big, bold flavors, and that adds a lot of complexity to the drink. It's also a spiced rum, so we have vanilla, cocoa, cinnamon, and a couple of other spices in there. The Baron Samedi says that it's enlivened with Haitian spice, which you can see is kind of tying back into that fact that the Baron Samedi is from Haitian voodoo folklore. From what I've seen on the internet, the spice is one called vetiver, but I've never heard of that before. I've never seen it before. So if anyone does know what that is, feel free to drop it down in the comments and we can all learn something together. So now we understand who the Baron Samedi is as a folklore Loa, as well as what Baron Samedi is as a rum. Let's take a look at the presentation. So we can see here that the label on this bottle is pretty impressive. I find it really awesome. It's got a dark, moody vibe, and then the use of those red accents is pretty impressive, really makes it stand out. And the Baron looks super menacing, which is pretty aligned with kind of his role of being that Loa of death. So great start on the presentation of the bottle. Let's see what it looks like once you pour it into a glass. So we'll open this up here, drop some into this glass here, and as I pour it, you can see that it's got that really dark color to it. It's a dark kind of amber, chocolatey kind of color, but when the light passes through it, you can see those golden notes, golden caramelly kind of tones. So fantastic appearance. It makes me really excited to smell it. So let's get into that. So on the nose, it's a very sweet smelling rum, but not artificially sweet. Really quite heavy on the vanilla and chocolate notes. Few hints of cinnamon in there. And it almost smells kind of like a butterscotch sauce when it's being cooked. It's very sweet, very pleasant, and definitely makes me want to drink it. So let's get into that. So immediately we're getting a strong hit of alcohol at the front of the palate there. There's a warming that's coming from those kind of spices that are in there. I think there's a bit of cinnamon warmth, and it gets smoothed out by the vanilla. Quite sweet as well. Kind of reminds me a little bit of brown sugar. And yeah, like I was saying before, kind of butterscotch notes as well. There's a slight smokiness there as well, or a woodiness. It's not quite either of those, so maybe that's the Haitian spice that's in there. I'm not too sure. I have no idea what that tastes like or smells like, so that could be it. But I feel overall this is kind of a winter or autumn kind of rum. It's not really something I would see myself drinking on a beach. It's more, let's say it's a cold, rainy kind of day. That would be You know what? Actually, if you put this with something like ginger beer, maybe some ginger beer and lime, that would probably be a really nice thing to have when you're sitting inside on a cold day. I reckon that would be pretty good. So overall, I'd say that's a pretty good rum. It's got a great nose, it tastes really nice, the spices play well together, plus it has a really cool story with the Baron Samedi on the label there. Probably not one that I would put into tropical cocktails or anything like that, but definitely nice to sip on a cold day. Definitely could go well with something that you would drink in the winter. If you have some thoughts, if you've tried this one before, let me know what you think down in the comments below. As well, feel free to let me know what you'd be keen to see next. But for now, let's go get this one on the shelf. I'll see you next week.